Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's webinar. I'm Steph. I'm the Programs Manager for Employability and Upskilling, as well as the Arts and Heritage projects at Blossom LGBT. I use the he, him pronouns. So tonight, our host, Larissa, will introduce you to what it's like to have a career as an actor. We mainly see the glamorous side of an actor's life, but we don't really know what that involves. Is it as easy as it's made out to be? What's the reality of it all? So before I hand over to our host to introduce herself, I want to first thank everyone for joining us tonight, and I'd like to remind you that please ask us questions and send us your comments and your feedback. The QR code that you see at the bottom of this presentation will take you to a form where you can ask your questions anonymously. And also, another gentle reminder, we do not tolerate any form of abuse or discrimination towards us, our host, our attendees, or anyone else. This space is for all of us to learn and engage respectfully. For now, I'm going to go off screen and Larissa, all to you.
Thanks, Steph. Hi, everyone. I am Larissa. Lovely to meet you all virtually. My pronouns are she, her. And thank you for joining us for Introduction to Acting today on this webinar. So I'm obviously an actor or actress or thespian, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different words. I'm currently based in Bracknell. I used to be based in London, which is preferred for actors. If you want to do something, big cities are normally the best, but as long as you can travel in, that's normally a good idea. And the kind of acting I've done or do currently is, well, preferred is theatre, but I've done theatre, I've done voiceover, I've done films. I have not done TV yet, but fingers crossed that comes in the future. And I've done a bunch of different commercials from online to international TV, which is very exciting. So the reason I wanted to do this webinar today is because when I started in acting, there wasn't really a lot of information out there. And there was information, but it was very confusing. There's so many things being thrown at you. And I wish I had someone in the industry to kind of give some pointers and tips. And that's kind of what I want to do for you all today. And I hope that it's helpful. And just like Steph said, if any of you have questions, please scan the QR code and ask your questions. And at the end, I will be answering them for you. I've just got a little quote here, which I will come back to. It's actually my favorite quote. In regards to acting, it says, "There are no small parts, only small actors," by Konstantin Stanislavski. So let's get started. So what does it really mean to be an actor? So I just want to make it clear that I know people are used to seeing, all these Hollywood stars and the glamour and all that amazing stuff. And that does exist, that is real. But acting is not just a path to fame. And if that's why you want to get into acting, you're getting into it for the wrong reasons. Acting is a craft, just like many other things. You're never born perfect. You're never born a star. You might be born with skills. You might be very talented. You might be very good at expressing yourself, but it's a craft and it's something you need to work on to get better. And it's something you need to be passionate about. There's no way to be an actor if you don't have passion or love for what you're doing. There are different paths to take, some of which I mentioned I do already. But the list is really quite long. Obviously, it depends on the kind of person you are and what fulfills you. But there's theatre, there's film, TV, commercials, voice work, and even teaching. There's different forms of drama teaching or acting teaching or coaching. And drama therapy is something I actually think is really lovely too, where you can help people through the performing arts. And it's proven really beneficial to so many different kinds of people. And something actually I was doing today is role playing. There's so many different types of role play, and a lot of people make a living from doing that. Whether it's medical role play, which is something I do. So I help student doctors and actual doctors do exams, and I would play the part of a patient. I'm given like a case study or a script or information, and I would enact that for them to help them understand what it would be like to have a patient like this in real life, this corporate role play, and so many things like that. And not to be a downer in any way. And it's actually quite funny because the positive is, I was going to say only 1% of actors and actresses successfully make a living doing just acting, but it's gone up to 2%. It used to be 1% not too long ago. I know that's still a tiny figure, but it's realistic. So what that means is, it doesn't mean just stop trying. That's not what it means at all. It means that there are only 2% of actors and actresses that only act, and they don't have to have a side job. They don't do anything else. They make all their money from acting. And I think that kind of makes sense, because when a lot of people think of actors, they think of people that work in bars, that work in restaurants, that work, loads of different jobs that are quite flexible, many of which I've had myself. And it's very, very, very normal. Yeah, but I wanted to emphasize that what being an actor means to me is, the importance of storytelling and connection. Especially in theatre, you connect with your audience, you connect with people, you make people feel things, you help people understand things. Even through things as comedy, you can really improve someone's day just through performing and doing what you love. And on the other hand, you can help people through grief, through things that you're performing with. So for me, I feel like performance and acting can really change people's day-to-day lives. They can change people's mood, they can change the way people think and see things, and it's really important, as well as being fun. So my personal acting journey, so there's different ways of getting into acting. I think that's quite obvious. I put some pictures up there of some productions I've done, whether it was on stage or on camera. Some people go down a very official route. I will talk about these places in a moment, but a lot of people or children can do LAMDA exams. They're quite like official qualifications where you train and perform and get a qualification in acting from a very young age. I didn't do that. I just came from a normal family, and I was a very quiet child, which is hard to believe because I'm obviously very talkative and very loud, and anyone that knows me knows that about me. But I literally started by being a super quiet child, and my mum was thinking, oh, she needs more friends and she needs confidence. She put me into something called Stagecoach, if you haven't heard of it. It's just a fun little club. You do 3 hours. I did it on a Saturday. It was like a Saturday club for me. 1 hour singing, 1 hour dancing, 1 hour acting, and I loved it. It was not official, nothing like that, but I made loads of friends and it helped me build confidence, which is another thing that's great with acting. But it really made me find my passion. And then when I was in school, just normal secondary school, I did my GCSEs in drama, which is not something you need to have done. I also did my A levels in drama, which is also something you don't need to have done. And many people who are professional actors didn't take those as GCSE and A level. And I didn't even go to drama school officially. I went to university for acting. It was funny. I was going to be a teacher, not a drama teacher. I was going to be an English teacher. And I had a friend who kind of secretly, non-secretly, applied for an acting course for me at Regent's University, which it was a new course in an American school in England. That sounds really confusing. It's not, I promise. And then getting in, and that I felt like it was a sign. So I went down that path. So I went to university. So I've got a BA honours in performing arts, obviously. But some people obviously go to drama schools, which I will be talking about. Gaining experience when you're at the beginning of your journey is tricky. I'm not gonna lie, but it's a lot easier to get seen nowadays with social media and, the whole world at your fingertips. It was just that bit harder about 12 years ago when I started, showing my age. But gaining experience, you need to put yourself out there. Networking and connecting with people in the industry is the most important thing you can do. And if you're not a confident person, you need to kind of take a deep breath and be like, okay, this is going to be me 2.0. And when I'm introducing myself and networking, because I'm not very good at those things, but you do have to try. So gaining experience, you can do student films, which don't be shy from that, because there are some excellent students that do some really, really good quality student films that, they may not pay, but they give you really good quality footage. I would say I used to do a lot of unpaid work, which nowadays I would say you should at least have your expenses paid for when you're starting out, at least your journey, your travel, your commuting money. But yeah, so student films, and I used to go on Facebook and find little, groups for actors or casting directors or people starting out. Twitter, even Instagram now has different pages that you can follow or search up in the search bar for casting calls, and they just do open castings. There's so many ways you can find work, even things like extra work. It's extra work, or background work is not acting. I want to make that clear. A lot of people get that confused, and some casting directors can look down on it. But if you're doing it just to be in the background and get experience and a little bit of money, why not? It is a really good experience. I was on I was in the background for House of Dragons, and I made sure to stay in the background because I didn't want my face seen, because I don't want any casting directors, when they cast me, seeing, oh, why was she an extra? Is she an actress or not? But it was really good experience to see such a massive set, and see how everything was made and done. Making your own work is really important when you're starting out, and not just starting out, just generally to keep your creativity going and keep your mindset in the industry. I used to have a production company with two friends from university, and we used to make short films, and we used to do spoken word poetry, and we used to do things for social media. And before that, when I was in university, I started my own drama club. We got funded to do our own theatre production. These things are so important. I learned so much, and you get to put on different hats. I got to put on a director hat, a producer hat, a location scout hat, as well as an actress. So you learn so much in so many different ways. Especially when I was talking about gaining experience before, being volunteering to be a runner on sets of big sets for films and TV, that will really change things for you, because you really get to see how everything works, and you get to meet a lot of the stars, which is really interesting. Casting websites, there's a bunch of them at the moment. I will talk about them. But on my journey, I started out with what used to be called Casting Call Pro. It's now called Mandy.com. And it's really helpful for professional actors, people starting out in acting, aspiring actors. There's a free version and a paid version where you can get unpaid jobs, paid jobs. There's filters, you can sort it out. Backstage.com is another one that you can look at, just to kind of get started. But I started on Mandy. Yeah, and getting an agent can be very tricky. And a lot of the time, once again, it's networking. If you are going to be in a show, or if you're putting on a show, for example, if you're making your own work and you're making your own theatre production, and you're doing a profit share, for example. So that means you obviously would put your own money in. If you can get funded, that's fantastic. But if you can't, and you put in your own money for this project, whatever the box office makes, whatever tickets you sell, the money is split between all the performers. So profit share. If you're doing that, it doesn't matter what you're doing, just invite agents in advance to your work. If you have a film you've done, a short film, something you filmed on your iPhone, if you're really proud of it, feel free to contact casting directors, casting agents, just generally, and try and sign up, because an agent is that real first step in the door to getting acting work. And it's super important because they have the connections. You may not, but your agent will have the connections, hopefully, if they're a good agent. It doesn't have to be the biggest agency in the world either. Just someone you can trust who, really is rooting for you. And the most important thing about my journey was I just never gave up. There was times I wanted to, and this industry, you have to have really thick skin. It can be really difficult, and it's hard to get rejected because you get rejected a lot, and you just can't take it personally. They might say, oh, you're too big, you're too small, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too this or too that. And especially if you're queer, I don't want this to get you down. Own it, own who you are, own your identity and make that your niche, make that something important, make that something that stands out about you. I was told when I was in university, quite discriminatory, I was told I shouldn't even bother getting into acting. I shouldn't even give it a go. I should just straight away try and become a teacher because I was too racially ambiguous. And for a long time, I struggled to get work. I got some little things. Then all of a sudden, the world decided to be more diverse, which really worked for me. And people were like, oh, actually, we want a representation of what the world really looks like. And if I'd given up and if I listened to those people, I wouldn't have got so far as I have. So don't listen to others. Keep your head on strong, have thick skin, and be resilient. Keep going. Yeah. So I would say that was probably one of my biggest challenges is not having people who should believe in you. And like one of the biggest things I've done in my career was my international commercial with Amex, which I think only recently stopped running in America. It was amazing. They flew me out to Prague. I got to stay in the Mandarin Oriental. I had days off where I got to just be on holiday while I was paid. And the set, the director, everything it was an incredible experience. And then seeing myself on TV, it was wonderful. And I felt so rewarded for all my hard work. And like I said, if I didn't stay in it, if I didn't stay resilient, I wouldn't have got that. I would have just given up and there would have been no point to it. But yeah, like not everybody gets a big break. You might just get persistently good, smaller roles. You might get a massive break. You might end up in Hollywood. You never know. You really never know, but you won't know if you give up. So practical first steps. I was talking about drama schools before, and I mentioned something called LAMDA. So probably the biggest drama schools in the UK specifically would be LAMDA, RADA, and Royal Central School of Speech and Drama. Going there is not the be all and end all. I didn't go there. I think maybe one person I know that's an actor went to Royal Central Speech School and Drama. I know someone who auditioned for drama school, was it 6 years in a row and was rejected until she finally got in. And that was incredible. And she's doing really well for herself. But she also could have gone a different path. That was the path she chose, and that's fine. But going to these schools are not the only way. They are not the only way to go. You can do courses. You can go to university like I did. There's short courses and evening classes, places like City Lit. The Actors Centre is fantastic. Please go on their website, look into them. They're in London. And there is a casting website called Spotlight, but they also have that I'll get into Spotlight in a second, but Spotlight partners are really helpful for helping you do courses and train and things like that. But just going and doing AmDram, your local theatres, just amateur dramatics, improv classes, anything to get you any form of experience or that kind of mindset, it's helpful. But yeah, I would say definitely out of all these places, the Actor Centre is my favorite. And they do some really great stuff there. So definitely take a look if you can. And what to expect from a life as an actor. There's pros and cons. And it can be tricky. Like I said, you have to be resilient. You have to have thick skin. The first thing is freelance lifestyle. It is inconsistent. And you are gig to gig living. You could get amazing jobs once a year, fantastic money, fantastic opportunities, and then have nothing for the rest of the year. For example, I had about a year and a half not too long ago where I was a full-time actor. I didn't need a side job. I didn't need to do anything else. And then I had a 2-year span of no work, no acting work. I had one commercial and then they decided not to air it. So I was like, oh, great. So you never know what's going to bring you. You can be the most attractive person, most personable person, most talented person, most hardworking person. But unfortunately, the industry can be tricky with just sometimes it's not great luck, but doesn't mean you don't keep working towards it. You keep working towards it. But you need to be prepared to have that kind of freelance lifestyle and, have a side job, potentially. It depends how well you're doing and what you're doing, or if you're supported at home. But people need to pay their bills. You know, you can't pay bills on vibes. That's not what we're doing. Like I mentioned, rejection is constant, but you can't take it personally. It's just not the right job for you. It doesn't mean that you're not talented. It doesn't mean you should give up on acting, which is something I've personally gone through so many times. My friends will know the amount of times I've been like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. I should just give up. Then I remember there's literally nothing else in the world that makes me happier or brings me more joy or is more rewarding for me. There's literally nothing else I could do that would be better than me acting. And you just have to remind yourself of that love, that passion, and don't take the rejection. You just don't take it personally. And this is why you have to have mental resilience. You need to work on your mental health and your well-being. You need to connect and surround yourself with positive people. You should be doing that anyway, not even just if you want to be an actor. But you know, do things that you enjoy. Find your creativity in multiple places. If you like painting and you're not good at it, who cares? Paint. If you like singing and you're not good at it either, who cares? Sing. Do what makes your heart full. Do what makes you happy, and fulfill that creativity. I have a baking company. Like, I have my own baking company. I started it because I needed to get out my creativity in a way, you know, that was different because I wasn't getting the acting jobs. And I still have the baking company, and I can choose when I do it and what I take on. And I do, by making these beautiful designs, I get to use that creativity, and it's so good for my mental health. Um, and like I mentioned with the freestyle lifestyle, you know, you have to have a side job, or you could have a main job and do acting on the side or as a hobby, whatever way it works. But unless you are that 2%, you know, temping. I am personally a LSA, a learning support assistant. So I'm like a teaching assistant, but I work with one-to-one SEND children in school, and I help them develop, grow, and you know, help them in all the ways they need, essentially. But a job is necessary, and don't listen to actors when they're like, oh, it's my muggle job, you know, things like that, trying to say, oh, that's like, it's not important. It is important. Everybody needs a job. There's no job beneath you. If you need to, you know, work in a bar or work in a, I don't know, supermarket, or whatever you need to do to make money to pay your bills so you can support your dream and your passion, do it. It doesn't make you less than, it doesn't make you not an actor. It just means you're a normal person who's in the industry and trying to make it. It doesn't make you an out of work actor. You're always an actor. You're always an actor, whether you're in work or not. Remember that. And like what I've been talking about, why people stick with this, it's the love of the work. And there is no better feeling than, personally, I said theatre is my favorite. You literally become a family, and it's so beautiful, and you make friends for life. And it's like-minded individuals that have the same passions and love for the art as you. And there's really nothing like it. Honestly, being on set with people, the jokes you make, the inside jokes, and the fun, the love, and that feeling of creating something together. Honestly, it's fantastic. And storytelling, the things that you can share with the world. It personally, I'm obviously biased. There's nothing like it. Coming on to my next slide. So, experience. So, there are different ways of getting experience. I mentioned these before. You know, this community theatre. Don't shy away from it. You can really learn a lot. You can make loads of friends, and you don't know if you're going to come up with these people together. You could be learning and developing together, and you might end up. One thing about this industry, it's small. It's big, but it's small. You will meet these people again. You will probably work with them again. You don't know if they're going to next time be your director, because everyone wears so many different hats. You genuinely don't know. There was once I worked at Madame Tussauds, right? I wasn't even an actor at Madame Tussauds. I was the photographer host person. So you dress in like a character, and you don't have to do an accent. You don't have to be in character. Just take pictures. It's for the tourists, right? But pretty much, no, every single person that did this job was an actor. And I made so many friends. And what was it, 2-3 years later, one of the women, contacted me, and she was like, hi, I'm putting together a web series with the writers and directors from the BBC. Like, you're amazing, and I want you to act. And I was like, I'd love to audition. So you don't need to audition. I know exactly what you're like to work with. She's like, I want you. And she cast me straight away, just because she'd worked with me before in a literally non-acting working job. But, you know, you vibe with people, you network with them, you connect with them. So do whatever you can. This community theatre, the student films, Amdram. I know professional actors that do Amdram sometimes on the side, just because they need to fill their acting boots. They need to do it. They need to feel it. And there's no shame in that. And I mentioned before casting platforms. So I was talking about how I started on Mandy, which used to be called, formerly known as Casting Call Pro. Backstage is another one to start on. And Spotlight, which I'm going to come on to, is the goal for the UK. I'm not speaking about other countries. Every country, they approach this differently. But for the UK, Spotlight is the most important, and having an agent and being with Spotlight, that's the goal, because the agent will apply for jobs for you. You can nudge your agent if you see a job and they will apply for you. But that is the goal. And like I mentioned before, if you want to be a runner or volunteer on sets to learn, whether it's a small set, a big set, commercial, TV, film, it doesn't matter. If you want to learn how it works, you want to learn how everything kind of, happens and how it comes to be, volunteering to be on set, especially as a runner, which is someone that literally what the job says. You run around and you do whatever needs to be done. If you need to get people coffee or move a chair here and there or find someone or help the directors make sure the actors or whoever feeling calm, and you're just getting them whatever they need, that's the job. So it's a really good first job to have on sets. And like I mentioned before, extra work, a good company who I'm actually with is Casting Collective. I'd really recommend them. And they're very professional. They do really big productions. They don't mess you around. Yeah, that's all I have to say is that I'd really recommend them. And if you are an actual actor who's had some training and you put that in their forms, very rarely, not all the time, but they will put special actual acting opportunities for you. But otherwise, background work is a great opportunity anyway. And don't ask me why this says placeholder title 09. I don't know. So please, please ignore that. Yes. So this is headshots and show reels. It literally just says professional headshots matter, because they do. If you need to start out and take your own picture, because headshots are expensive, okay? And no one is expecting you to all of a sudden just pull out £300 from nowhere. They are expensive. But if you need to start out, get your iPhone, get a good camera or a good mobile phone, and get a good plain background, good lighting, no shadows. Wear something that, the color brings out your tone, that you look good in, and take a headshot. But you need a headshot. And once you save up money, a professional headshot, photographer, you need it. You absolutely need it. No one will take you seriously if you don't have a clear professional picture. Show reels are the same. I've never paid for a show reel. You can go to show reel companies and they will film, things with you and then edit it for you and then give you the result. Fantastic. And they can be really, really great. I personally have never done that because I used to make my own work. So, and now I don't need to make my own work. I've already got, professional things that I've edited together myself. But with the show reel, if you have no work as of yet, genuinely, and I've heard this from a casting director themselves, nice plain wall behind you, learn a monologue that you absolutely love, that shows the kind of actor you want to be. If you want to be a comedy actor, do a really good comedy monologue. If you want to be serious actor, do a dramatic monologue. You could do one of both, but upload that as your show reel to begin with. And then when you start to get work, you always get them to send you the final product, and you can edit it together in simple things. Like on my phone, I have something called UCut. I think Samsung and Apple both have their own editing software. You shouldn't be doing the old school, what was it called? Windows Movie Maker, whatever, where things are flipping around and flying in. None of that. Fade to black. You put your picture, you put your name, and then it's just fade to black, scene, fade to black, and that is it. Simple, nothing else. And that's what I was talking about. No montages. Don't do loads of small snippy scenes that do not show your acting ability. They need to see you perform. They need to see you act. They need to see what characters they can cast you as. Sorry, my ring's going off. And you can use website or social medias to advertise yourself. I literally posted something on Instagram yesterday of an audition that I did for Edinburgh Fringe. I didn't get it, but I thought it was a good audition. It was a singing one. So I uploaded it. And then, you do your hashtags of whatever, actor, actress, queer actor, LGBT, QIA actor. I do South Asian actress, British Asian actress, whatever. That's my niche. You know what I mean? So you need to, whatever it is, advertise yourself. Hashtag if it's on Instagram. Some people have their own websites that they pay for that advertises all of their work, their headshots, their show reels. You can do that. I don't personally, because I use Spotlight like a lot of other people, and that has my CV on. I don't know why I'm doing that because it is a CV. It's called a Spotlight CV. And it has all your work on it. It has your agent, it has your everything they could possibly need is on Spotlight, essentially. But if you want a website to show yourself off, do it. There's no harm. But definitely get on the socials if you can, just to advertise yourself. Even on Twitter. It's not called Twitter anymore. What's it called? X. I keep saying Twitter. I'm so old. But get on there. Show yourself off to the world. Show everyone your talent. Some people make skits. I know someone that literally, he makes skits all the time. I know someone who I worked with, something called News Review, and I didn't even know this while we were working together, but he's a viral TikToker. And then I obviously watched his stuff. He's got music on Spotify. Had no idea, but he's so funny in real life and on his TikToks. But keep making stuff. Make it. Just upload, even just audition fails. Upload my audition fails all the time, and they're quite hilarious because a lot of actors and other people can just sympathize. And if not, it's just funny to see people able to laugh at themselves. But definitely advertise yourself, get yourself out there. I keep talking about Spotlight because it is so important. So CV and casting profiles. Before you have any of these things, you can write a CV like you do just a normal, like professional CV for non-performing arts jobs. Just like you would with a normal CV, obviously put your name, you put your email address, you put the work that you've done, but you would put the casting director if you have it, not the casting director, the normal director, if you have it, the year that you did this production, and the name of your role. So that would be the difference, but you don't necessarily need to give any information. If you want to give links, you can. Or if you create like a YouTube page and have your show reels on there. This is all before Spotlight, before having Spotlight, you can do that. YouTube is your friend. And obviously you can create links that only certain people can see. It doesn't need to be available to the public if you don't want it to be. And sorry, I'm just checking the time. We're good. Yeah. So one thing that people don't necessarily tell you about is you need to find your actor name. So before you really get into this, when you do get Spotlight, I think you could do this without even having Spotlight, but you can look up other people's names. So let's say my name is John Smith. We all know there's about 1 billion John Smiths in the world, and you don't want to be confused for another actor. Or let's say I knew someone in my like drama school, university course. Her name was Julia Roberts. We all know who the famous Julia Roberts is. Do you really think that people casting you are going to be like, oh, the new Julia Roberts? No, you need to get a different name. So her middle name was May. So she changed her acting name, not legally, but just on Spotlight and all acting, credits and things like that, to Julia May. You don't want to be living in someone else's shadow. So make sure your name is what you want to represent you. It's essentially a stage name. Like, I can't even begin. There's so many actors and singers that that's not the real name. Jamie Foxx, I don't know if your name is an actor and a singer. That's not his real name at all. I don't even know what his real name is, but his name is not Jamie and it's not Fox. But it's catchy and everyone knows him by that name. But yeah, find your actor name. And when you do get a chance, get onto Spotlight. You can get onto Spotlight by going to an accredited drama school, which I didn't do. So I had to do it the long way, which is where you get, I believe it's 3 credits, professional acting credits, theatre, film, TV, commercial, whatever it is. You need to get official credits, and once you've got them, you apply for Spotlight and they will take you on. Another thing I want to tell you, for anyone who's neurodivergent, I have ADHD. If you are an actor and you're signing up to Spotlight, you do have to pay. It's not cheap. But if you are neurodivergent or disabled in some way, if you email them and let them know, they actually give you a discount on the annual price, which is really helpful. But obviously, please don't take advantage if you're not disabled or neurodivergent in any way, because then takes away the opportunities for the people that have these problems. Yes, so Equity, if you haven't heard of it, is the actors trade union. They are super important and they can save you in so many ways. If someone hasn't paid you, if someone's refusing to give you your your final product, if people are messing up the contracts, let's say you're on tour and all of a sudden they say you need to work 2 more weeks and you're like, that's not in the contract, and they're like, oh, but you need to do it for £200 less. Who do you contact? Equity. They will have your back. You join them and they will honestly help you in every way possible. I went backwards here. I already spoke about creating your own acting CV if you don't have Spotlight. But yeah, the goal eventually is to be on Spotlight. But before then, you make your own acting CV. You can get on YouTube. You use your social medias. You use Mandy. You use Backstage.com and any other way to get work and show your work. Okie dokie. And I think that leads us to our final slide. So final tips. Wanted a little positive. You got this. You really have, because you do. We all do. And you need someone to believe in you, and you need to believe in yourself. Most importantly, don't let anyone get you down. Don't let your family, your friends, no matter what anyone says, don't let them get you down. You work hard at your craft and you prove things to yourself and others. Keep learning. Go to the actor centre, go to City Lit, make your own work, research, read, go to the theatre, go to the cinema. Do you know what I mean? Watch things, experience it. That's how you stay curious and you keep learning. Build a creative community. It doesn't just need to be actors. Find people who are writers, collaborate with each other. If you find a writer and an aspiring videographer, work together, make something together. None of you will need to be paying each other, but you'll just put your work in together. Find a day where you're not working on a Saturday or Sunday and make something. But build a creative community, come together, work together, support each other. You need it, and it's so important. Like I said, you never know if you're going to be working with professionally in the future. You could be. Stay grounded. It doesn't matter what happens. There was a guy in my university. He was the only person who got an agent from university. Everybody else, no matter how hard they tried, they didn't get an agent. He straight away got a massive commercial in his first year of graduating. And he went to, what was it, South Africa, to film a commercial for like 3. He, the network, he got paid something like 10K. Can you imagine? Like coming out of drama school and then all of a sudden getting an agent, all of a sudden getting that. And since then, he's never got work. But he was bragging. He kept saying, oh, it's so annoying. I have to forward my own commercial. I'm so sick of seeing myself. That is not the way to be. Stay humble. This business is very, very humbling. Okay, be proud of yourself, be happy of what you achieve, be happy for others, be proud of others, but just stay grounded. Don't get a big head. I don't get cocky, because that's just general life advice. And you don't need to wait for permission to start. You don't need to wait for anyone. You don't need to wait for people to say, oh, I'm going to hire you. You need to create your own work. Like I was saying, reels on Instagram and TikTok right now are so helpful. Like if you remember Vine, this is what you want to do. Short things that catch people's interest. There, show your personality. Casting directors want to see your personality. I was once cast for a commercial because I posted an audition fail, and the casting director thought it was hilarious. It had nothing to do with the commercial, and he even had a picture of me printed out that was screenshotted from my Instagram audition fail of me rolling my eyes and pretending to chew gum in a character, and he was like, this is why I cast you. And I was like, okay, great. Things you don't expect that will catch people's eye. Honestly, put yourself out there. And like I mentioned before, things like profit share productions. I don't want anyone going bankrupt or, not being able to pay their rent because they're trying to put on productions. Do things within your means. Do what works for you. But like I said, if you have a friend that's an aspiring writer, you have a friend who's an aspiring director, you have a friend who's an aspiring videographer. If not, just get your partner to video you if you really need to. Do you know what I mean? My husband, poor thing, he has to do all my auditions with me every single time. He works in construction. But support is support. You do what you need to do. Okay. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the webinar. I know I've just been talking at you, probably a bit too fast as well, but yeah, that's all I have to say. I'm happy for Steph to help me out with some.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Well, you're not done talking yet, so because I've got.
We're not. I'm hydrating.
Yes, we need to do that. Because I've got 4 questions for you. They're not my questions; they're anonymous questions. Let's start. All right, this one. You talked about rejections and instability in this industry.
Mhm.
How do you mentally and emotionally navigate this?
So first I get very sad. I'm not gonna lie. I get sad. Once I was told that, and it wasn't from the director, right? So I auditioned for this feature film, and I told you all not to be cocky, but I was a little bit cocky because I thought I was great for that part, and I vibed so well with the rest of the cast. I could just feel it was right. I could feel it. Then my agent called me, and he normally only calls me to tell me I've got things, right? And he said, "Oh, Larissa, I'm really sorry." He sounded so sad, bless him. He was like, "Larissa, I'm so sorry you didn't get the role." And he said, and he paused and he said, "Do you want to know the feedback of why you didn't get the role?" "I don't know why, but I just knew." I said, "Is it because I'm overweight?" And he said, "Yeah." They said you were too big, which had nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the character. It was like a Nancy Drew kind of Cluedo vibe, where there's a murder of a butler in a house and the young sleuth has to figure it out. And I was potentially playing the character of the best friend, the comical best friend. That was it. She wasn't a model. She wasn't anything. She was another university student. And I couldn't understand. I just couldn't understand. And I sat with that for a while. And I was sad. And you need to accept your feelings. I say don't let it get to you, but you can't let it stay with you. And then I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter what I look like. I am talented. I am skilled. And there's going to be loads of roles. And there was loads of roles that are perfect for me. And you know what ended up happening? This is ridiculous. I get a call a month before they start filming from the director. He sounded really sad this time. He's telling me, "Larissa, I'm so sorry that I said no to you. The girl that we took over you, she lied. She refused to do the kissing scene. She said she was available for all the schedules. She wasn't. She said she wasn't going to turn up. She's been rude. She's been difficult to work with. And I wasn't the one who wanted her. It was the producer because he liked the way she looked. But I wanted you." I ended up doing the feature film in the end as a last minute thing. I could have said no. But the director genuinely was such a wonderful man, and the cast were wonderful people, and I really liked the script. But if I felt really, you don't want to burn your bridges, but also you don't have to accept discrimination in any way, and you don't have to accept, people twiddling their thumbs saying, "Oh, I made a mistake." If you want to say no, you say no. But that's how I deal with rejection. It's just, you have to be in your feelings. You have to accept that you may be upset. It may hurt you, but you're a wonderful person and you have people around you that love you and you love you. You need to love you. And that's the most important thing. That whole saying of when one door closes, another one opens, or a window opens, whatever it is, crawl through the window, get in there. There is something for you. There is always something for you. And for someone that looks like you, that identifies as what you identify as, there will be something. I hope that answered that.
I think so. If it hasn't, please, you know where to ask questions. Can acting help people heal or process difficult experiences? Have you seen that happen in your own life or with others?
It's happened with me.
Okay.
Honestly, I believe like acting has saved. That sounds so dramatic. I'm an actor, huh? But it saved me. I literally struggled to make friends. I had to be in special classes in school because I was so quiet. And like I said, I went into acting for confidence building. Um, it wasn't. I didn't know I wanted to be a professional actor as a child. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything. I just knew I had issues in these departments, and the kind, like I say, the kind of family you create in this industry is beautiful. And there's so many people I know that through training and understanding how your own emotions and how the physical, the mental, the spiritual, all there's so many different sorry, my ring keeps going off. There's so many different forms of training you can take to understand things like Laban efforts, for example, mix the physical with the vocal with the emotional, and it's almost like therapy in different ways. But there's so many people it's helped. But alternatively, and this is my opinion only, okay, many of you have probably heard of method acting. I personally do not believe in it. I know some of the greats, most of the greats believe in method acting, but there's stories like Heath Ledger, for example, who played the Joker in Batman, who it became his downfall. Method acting can be very dangerous because you lose yourself. Acting shouldn't be you become that person, you are pretending to be that person. You still need to remember who you are. And like I said before, stay grounded in who you are and your likes, your hates, your hobbies, your life. Because method acting, you become that character and you can get lost and you lose yourself. And that can psychologically be very dangerous. But I truly believe acting, and this is how we have drama therapy. This is how we have, they've seen how people with Alzheimer's, they come back out of like a vegetable state through acting, through music. Same with children and child development, send children and adults. There's so many different forms of acting that can help people in so many ways. And like I said, for me and a lot of my friends, it saved us in different ways.
Thank you. I think you might have answered the next question, but I will ask it. And then if you have something to add, what are some unexpected real life skills that acting teaches? Is it worth taking acting training if I'm not interested in pursuing an acting career?
If you're not interested in pursuing an acting career, I wouldn't say do acting training. I would say do improv classes to gain different skills. I would say do a bit of AmJam for the community and for the fun of it. But I wouldn't say the only reason you would do acting training is if you want to be an actor or be in the industry. But there's so many other acting related things you can do. Like I said, improv classes, which I've actually done with Steph before, they're so fun. They're so fun and they're confidence building, and you will learn things about yourself. You'll learn how to be silly again. I think most adults, you're forced into this mold, right? Of you need to be sensible and you need to pay bills and you need to potentially get married or have children or get this really serious job and sit in an office all day and have meetings and be a robot, blah, 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 blah. Children, from the moment they come out of the womb or whatever, I don't know, whatever, petri dish, I don't know, but whatever they come out of, they play. They learn through play, they grow through play, they make friends through play, they develop through play. Acting is playing. Shakespeare, when he used to put on productions, the actors weren't called actors, they were called the players, because that's what we're doing. And I think remembering how to play and be silly is so crucial. So I would say definitely check out improv classes. If Blossom puts on any more improv classes, go to them. But yeah, if you don't want to be an actor, don't train. Do all the other fun things.
I agree with the silliness of improv. I loved it. Yeah, and I agree that with the skills thing. It's very much act on your think on your feet.
It's so much fun, yeah, and you
Yeah,
learn so much. You learn about yourself, and you learn how you interact with people. Improv is something that you use in everyday life.
true.
In so many different ways. I'm not saying you're going to pretend to be a rhino every day of your life or whatever we do in improv, but thinking on your feet, problem solving, decision making, helping others in need. You don't know if you might need to do first aid. Who knows? But improv can help you, and it gets your brain working in a way that it wouldn't in other industries.
Last question, unless another one pops up. Do you have any favorite actor or actress who inspire you, and why?
Yes. So I was born in the 90s. My favorite actor of all time, unfortunately, has passed away. It was Robin Williams. He was such a humanitarian and a wonderful, wonderful human being who accepted everybody and himself. And unfortunately, his own demons got to him. And that's why mental health and well-being is so important. But I could talk about him forever, but he inspired me so much. His comedy. I'm a comedy actor. So obviously I'll do drama and whatever if I need to be serious, but I'm pretty much what people would call a comedy actor. So everything I do revolves around comedy. I love slapstick, which is like Mr. Bean style, which is like very physical, physical theater, things like that. But Robin Williams, I love every aspect of him in every point of his journey of acting. And if anyone saw, was it 24-Hour Photo, and oh my god, what's the Dead Poet Society, I think. There's so many things where he wasn't just a comedy actor. You really get to see his skills, and you really just feel his emotion. Tom Hanks is another one. Forrest Gump is my favorite film of all time. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. And Whoopi Goldberg, I don't think I need to say anything more about her skills. I don't know about her as a person, but her skills in acting and her comedy, and being someone who is a woman in this time and not conventionally attractive, because I think she's attractive. She thinks she's attractive, despite what presenters have tried to say to her face in interviews. But in that world, coming up and being so popular and so famous, in one of my favorite musicals ever, Sister Act 2, not the first one, it's incredible what she achieved at the time that she was coming up. So yes, those are my
I like Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, she's hilarious. Such a good actress. I think that. Well, I don't think I can. I know we are out of questions for tonight. I think we can bring it to a close. I want to thank you, Larissa, for everything you shared with us today, your funny stories, your vulnerable stories, and all of the tips and tricks of the industry. I want to thank also everybody in the audience. I'd like to remind you to contact us for questions, feedback, well, really anything that comes up afterwards. If you rewatch this again and you have more questions for us, I'll make sure to send them to Larissa. We would like you also to send us feedback and to ask us to do more of these webinars and workshops, because we cater all of everything that we do to you. So yay, send them over. Also follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Eventbrite for the next ones. We've got a cake decoration workshop coming up. This is going to be this Saturday, the 12th of July in Newhouse in Guildford. So come and learn how to decorate cakes. And also, if you're interested in our mentorship scheme for queer young adults, whether as a mentor or a mentee, do not hesitate to get in touch with us. You can find this information on our website. Larissa, do you have any last words for us before we close this up?
I just want to say thank you for joining us. And if you're not trying to be a professional actor, do improv classes anyway. Genuinely, I think everyone in the world should do them for so many different reasons. If you are trying to be an actor, please believe in yourself, especially if you're queer. And this world is so difficult already as it is, and there's not many opportunities, but opportunities are coming. They are coming. And like I said, the person that needs to believe in you the most is you. And I believe in you. I don't know you, but I believe in you. So please just go on, keep pushing, be resilient, and look after yourself.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.